Thank you, Steve. And now to the story about a local sheriff who wants to run for another term who will not be on the ballot in the May primary. The Teton County Idaho clerk had to declare the Teton County Sheriff's candidacy invalid because of an obscure law. County officials say it's because the sheriff missed the filing deadline in an attempt to change his party affiliation. But as Local News 8's Natalie Shaver reports, the sheriff says this is all politically motivated.
Declared disqualified because of a little-known rule, not a little-known, an unknown rule of election law.
That law says he needed to give notice 5 days before the March 11th filing deadline. Sheriff Lyford filed his party change on March 10th. The sheriff went to the county clerk to find out what steps he needed to take in order to withdraw his Democratic candidacy and refile as a Republican.
This little-known rule was unknown by the Secretary of State of Idaho, who oversees elections in Idaho, unknown by the county clerk, who oversees the elections in the county, and unknown by me.
In a press release, County Clerk Mary Lou Hansen said she accidentally found this law. She was researching a write-in options for another candidate whose candidacy was found invalid. That's when Hansen asked the Teton County prosecutor if the sheriff's candidacy had to be declared invalid.
The prosecutor had the authority to simply let it stand and then make sure that this didn't happen again or doesn't happen again in any future elections. And I think the most salient point is that the gentleman who's run against me previously, and if I remain as a candidate, would be running against me again, works for the prosecutor and has for the last 7 years.
The prosecutor did not have time to do an interview with me today, but did send me this statement in response. The Secretary of State is the chief election officer in the state of Idaho, and Clerk Hansen is required to follow their directives on the interpretation of election laws. When Clerk Hansen realized that Sheriff Lyford's change of party affiliation and candidacy was invalid, she contacted the office of the Secretary of State and followed their directive in removing Sheriff Lyford from the Republican ballot. Sheriff Lyford and the local Republican Central Committee are unwilling or unable to accept responsibility for their oversight and instead are choosing to blame others. I do agree that it would be best for the voters to choose their sheriff.
It's clear that this is politically motivated and to install who the prosecutor wants as the sheriff, not the people who she wants as the sheriff.
The sheriff says he is taking the issue to court. The hearing was scheduled for Monday, but late today the case was moved to U.S. District Court. Lyford can run as a write-in candidate. Election officials are still trying to figure out which party he